Hey guys, today it's time to talk about the Olight S30 Baton Generation 3. Not a huge amount of differences between this and the other versions of the S30. To be honest, I think a lot of the differences are in the basically just keeping up to date with their charging system, and also just, keeping it up to date as far as the most current LEDs and all that. Performance-wise, very similar. Functionality, very similar. You're not getting a ton if you're upgrading from this, but lots of times it is good if you are looking to invest in a system. I think Olight kind of has this down in that their chargers work between different models, and that you can actually pick out several different flashlights and use the same hardware for them, which is kind of cool. So let's talk real quick about the light. Here are your modes, brightness, and spacing. You can see the usual waterproof, shockproof, all that jazz. Step down, which Olight has with pretty much all their lights on high. You can see this one here steps down after 2 minutes. So it goes from 1,000 lumens down to 500 after 2 minutes. You can always bump it back up. Really nice 100-day long moonlight mode. So overall, really good specs for such a small light. It's really impressive to see them get 1,000 lumens out of such a teeny tiny light. This really is one of the smallest 1,000 lumen lights on the market, and it actually does it and is able to handle the heat quite well. So major differences, like I said, really a lot of it goes into the charging dock. Olight has kind of went in and kind of revamped their old magnetic charging dock, which is USB, has input output, so you can also charge your phone while you're charging that. Little suction cup on the bottle, suction cup on the bottom. You can cross between models, so if you want to put, one of your other lights on there with the magnetic base, you can switch between different models. So if you do own 2 or 3 different Olights, that is kind of nice that you can go between. Also, if you do own the S2R or the S1R, you can also use that magnetic charger on this light as well. So there is a lot of that portability, but in the tail cap that you can use both of the systems, which is pretty cool. Accessories, you're not getting a ton. USB cable, charger, lanyard, nothing too amazing. Alright, so let's start going over this head to tail. XML2 LED, I believe it's the U3, which is pretty close to the most recent XML2 out there. You have an anti-reflective coating. I think tempered glass lens. The bezel, I believe, is stainless steel, actually. Anodized aluminum body, deep carry pocket clip, side switch, magnetic tail cap, so if you want to use it as a work light. Decent knurling and anodization on this. The user interface, standard Olight. Click to turn on, click to turn off. Long click to go into moonlight mode, which is that little half lumen mode. And when it's off, you can double click to go straight to turbo, or triple click to go to strobe. When it's on, long hold switches between your 4 brightness modes. And it also has the lockout, which from the off position, hold it. Oops, missed that one. From the off position, hold it. Moonlight will come on, then shut off. Now it's locked out. And when it's locked out, you can only get momentary on the moonlight. That's it. You can't switch between modes or anything like that. So to turn that off, you hold it until it blinks again. And you're back in business. So, all that cool stuff. And you're going to say, hey Bushcraft, that's kind of lame. Olight seems to be putting out a lot of very similar lights. And they are. Here is the S2R, which you can see with that tail clip, so you can see a little better. Very similarly sized. The S2R is a little bit smaller, but likewise, their performance is pretty close to identical. They have their 2 instructions here, and you can see that the numbers are actually just a couple of lumens off for pretty much everything except for that moonlight, which the S30R has the way more efficient moonlight. The biggest difference is the TIR lens versus the smooth reflector of the S30. So what does that mean to you? Well, if I were going to pick between these two lights, it would depend on what I wanted the light for. For close-up work, inside a car, work light, that kind of thing, I would go with the S2R. Going camping in the woods, need to see more, I'd go with the S30. So you have to figure as you have a nice smooth beam with the S2R, a hot spot and still with a decent amount of throw with the S30. This TIR lens makes it a very diffused beam, very pleasant on the eye when you're trying to read a book, versus this can have that hot spot that can white out, drawn out colors and all that if you're doing close-up work. So I do think it's if you're trying to pick between the two, I think the big thing is being their run times and lumens and all that are so similar, and that their chargers can cross over. I think your biggest choices are size and that lens. Also, the S2R comes with a 3200 milliamp hour battery. The S30 comes with a 3500 milliamp hour battery. Now that doesn't seem like much, but that can get you and let you squeeze out a couple more minutes out of these. Quality, everything you expect out of an Olight. Everything's built well, good materials. Olights are going to have their problems. You're always going to read about people getting a bad flashlight here and there. But Olight generally is very consistent. Their fit and finish is usually pretty good. I think this is probably 10th or 11th Olight I've had in my hands. And they're all very consistent with quality. They all run good. I've had no problems with one yet. I've used them quite a bit. They've seen a lot of everyday carry. I think Olight really has the market on everyday carry flashlights because they do have that really good pocket clip. And plus their lights are very small and pocketable. And plus that user interface is pretty decent for everyday carry. So overall, it's a good light. It's a little expensive for a lot of people, but then again, with Olight, you are getting a light that can handle 1,000 lumens very easily and is pocketable. Usually to get something 1,000 lumens, you got to go a little bit up in size from this, and it becomes a little bit more of an issue to pocket than these. I find this to be really comfortable. I can carry this thing all day long with no issues and no problems, and it doesn't bother me the slightest to have this light in my pocket. Whereas if you go up to something like the ThruNite TN12, that can get a little tiresome. If I'm wearing, like a pair of thinner pants or like dress slacks, that can be a little kind of cumbersome in the pocket, especially long term, 12, 16 hour day. I just think the Olights carry better. They have that better pocket clip. They're smaller, and their performance, lumen wise and all that is just as good. You've seen it, you can check it out. There's tons of torture videos on these flashlights where people just beating the snot out of them. Olight has a decent warranty. Everything's pretty decent. Overall, guys, I think if you're looking for a platform to invest into, you might want to consider the Olight because of the portability between the chargers and the portability between some of the lights as far as changing out tail caps and things like that. So just one important thing to know, and hope you guys enjoyed.